What's up, y'all? Welcome into DNVR Rams Live. This is the Toyota Losers Lounge.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Unfortunately, Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. Make sure you visit your Front Range stores there. Man, that was something. The Rams fall 52-0 week 1 at Texas. Don't cover the roughly 35-point spread. Never really even competed in this one, to be honest. There were a couple of small bright spots here and there, but largely a wet blanket. I mean, I've got a bunch of notes here we can get to at one point or another. I'll throw out some key stats and all that. But Ryan, obviously, you've been here many times before as a CSU alum.
As an old CSU alum.
It's been hard, man. The last 15 years. I think this is a matchup where it's very easy to go completely negative and be like, that was completely pathetic. They never even were in it. What an awful showing. You could also go the other way and be completely dismissive. Say you're playing the number 4 team in the country. This was essentially to be expected. Probably would have happened to everybody in the league, which is true. Man, I don't know. Like, it's hard for me to balance the emotion and embarrassment, honestly, of watching the Rams not even really put up any type of fight, while also not wanting to get, too hyperbolic, too overreactionary on what was probably always going to be the outcome. But damn, it would have been nice to see them put up even an inkling of a fight, and they did not at all.
I know. Look, if you had told me that Texas was going to score 52 points and win against Colorado State in week 1, I would have been like, yeah, probably. But if you told me that the Rams were going to score 0 points, that's where I would get disappointed. I'd be like, no, come on, man. And that's what it was. Honestly, I thought the game started good for the Rams.
Yeah,
it was a strong
a couple
start.
of moments. The defense hung in there a little bit early on.
I thought you just had to get through the first quarter, get through the first 15 plays, because those were dangerous to me. Those were the ones that they had been practicing for so long. They're the 4th-ranked team. I thought they were really just going to blitz the Rams, and it'd be 21-0 after the first quarter. So, it turned out to kind of go the way I thought it would. And I think both things can be true. I think they played a really good number 4 ranked team in the nation. Like, Texas looks legit. Every person on their defense just looked big, just big human playing on defense. So it's 52 points on the CSU Rams defense. Not a surprise, but damn, the offense was really disappointing today, and that's probably where we're going to start here.
Yeah, we did not see much from the passing offense whatsoever. Actually fared pretty well on the ground, all things considered. 32 carries for 118 yards, 3.7 yards per carry as a team, but Justin Marshall had 106 yards on the ground. He went for 4.2 yards a pop. Really the only positive note from this offensive performance was him in the ground game.
Yeah.
Seemed like there was definitely an effort to get him over 100 yards there. I don't know if I would have had him taking some of those fourth quarter carries when they were down. But as Lamar 1107 and says here in the Toyota chat, there are some positive things about today's game, particularly the offensive line. Did not give up a sack. Did allow a handful of pressures, but more or less, kind of gave him a clean pocket. I will say I felt like BFN was kind of out of sorts throughout the game.
Yeah.
Never really got his feet set on a couple of throws. The interception, the one interception he did have. Torrey had some separation there. I see what he was thinking. I'm not sure I would have forced that ball into, a crowded group on first down there. But yeah, we wanted to see more offensively. And I think that's a really good point that you made there, was that giving up 52 points on the road at Texas, it's not what you're hoping for, but it's certainly not shocking or surprising or anything like that. But, I think, and there was reason to, given the amount of experience that you had returning on this team. It's your 3rd year of the program under Norvell. I think the people really wanted to see a more competitive showing. You lost 51-7 or whatever it was at Michigan 2 years ago, this wasn't that much more competitive. I mean, they held up better in the trenches for sure. You can definitely see the difference with the offensive line in this game versus that one. But just never really got anything going offensively. A really conservative approach from the start. I'm not shocked about that. If you've listened to Norvell talk, and I know I'm kind of rambling here, so I'm sorry, RG, but
all good. Go for it.
You know, I know we all wanted to see this team compete more, and I certainly did too. I also think there was probably some realism with the staff when the game started to turn. Like, it was pretty conservative from the start, but especially as it went on, they never really opened it up. I mean, outside of the interceptions, I don't really recall any times where they're trying to push it 15, 20-plus yards down the field. Like, it's a lot of stuff underneath. And I think there's going to be a lot of people that are frustrated by that you just didn't see a whole lot of variety within the play calling. I also kind of get it if you're the staff, like especially once the game started to really break open in Texas's favor. You've got 11 weeks left. Being realistic, you probably aren't going to come back, you know, especially once it's like 28-30 to nothing or something like that. And Norvell has talked about like every game plan is going to be different, and he's kind of dropped some hints in the last couple of weeks of essentially, you know, like our game plan for Texas probably isn't going to be the same as our game plan for every other week.
Well, let's hope.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. Like, kind of take that with a grain of salt. I don't think this was shocking. I will say I get that rationale. I also think if you're big-time underdogs, you kind of have to go in with the mindset of we're going to try and punch first. We're going to try and punch back. We really have nothing to lose here. And when you've got receivers like Horton, when you've got receivers like Winfield, like, I'd like to see them give those guys a couple more opportunities to break plays downfield. That said, you know, playing devil's advocate, if you come out and force a bunch of bad balls and, you know, you turn the ball over a bunch early, you know, it very likely could have been 50-0 in the first half.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I really struggled with what to take away from this game because this was definitely significantly more lopsided than I anticipated. Losing big was not shocking, but I'm struggling with how much to put into this and how much to recognize, like, yes, this is Texas. Yes, they might be one of the 2 or 3 teams that are in best position to win a national championship this year. And also, like, man, like I thought we would hang a little bit better. I thought our playmakers would, you know, have a better showing in this one. And I understand 100%. Some of it is they didn't get chances, but that's where I'm at right now. And I know that's not necessarily super astute. Like, I'm not giving you guys a perfect solution here. I don't know if there is one. I think it might be a situation where, honestly, we've got to see how this team responds. And I think that's going to be the big thing is how this team responds the next 2-3 weeks is really going to tell us a lot about him. And it's kind of going to dictate there. Are you going to try and be sneaking into a bowl, like trying to squeeze out 500? Or can you get it going here? Because realistically, like, the other 11 games on your schedule are much more winnable.
I think probably the most realistic team we saw was the first half of this game. It was pretty much done at halftime. Like, let's be real. But again, they kind of, it was just really disappointing on offense. I agree with you. Even I was like, man, we're running the ball a lot here. Like, why wouldn't you try and air it out, get some lucky plays, get some pass interferences? I don't know. I thought you would try and get Braden going, and then also if he started going, then you could have the running game come back and, like, you know, kill some clock, keep the ball away from Texas. The first drive, it was over like that.
That is some of it, though, is that especially when you go down and the defense has been on the field there.
Right.
If the passing offense isn't in rhythm and you already have a defense that's getting gashed, it's hot, it's week 1, you come out and you throw 3 straight incompletions, you know, you're putting your defense in a brutal spot too. So I get some of that of wanting to dictate the tempo, wanting to kind of give your defense a break. Honestly, probably just trying to limit how much that Texas offense was out there.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I thought we would see a little bit more out of the passing offense. I mean, only 18 pass attempts in this game, 59 pass yards for BFN. Brousseau came in late, obviously 3 of 6 with 15 yards and an interception. The game was over, so I'm not going to harp on it, but that was a really bad ball by Brousseau. I mean, never had a chance, missed the receiver by like 3-4 yards. Just not a good showing. It was ugly. This is one you're going to have to put behind you quickly, obviously, because you've got Ag Day coming up against Northern Colorado, and obviously we don't need to talk about week 3. Everybody knows what that is. But we're going to learn a lot about this team with how they respond, I think, because 52-0 is, that's rough.
Right. Isn't this the second year they have given up 52 points in week one? What was Washington State, 52-20?
Something like that. It was close. Again, like it would have been, even if you could have gotten what you had in that Washington State game where the offense comes alive in the fourth quarter. Yes, the game's out of reach. Yes, you're doing it against a lot of 2s and 3s, but just something. I mean, they did move the ball a little bit again in the fourth quarter, but even then, you end up throwing a pick in the red zone and aren't able to capitalize there.
Right.
Just not much to hang your hat on.
No, and I think I probably think that somewhere around the second, third quarter, Norvell was like, all right, let's not show too much offense.
I'm with you, but I also think and again, I've obviously very openly been a big supporter of Norvell and this staff, and I'm not going to flip that because of the results of one game, but I'm not going to just sit here and cheerlead either, which is the approach of some people. But I think you got to be critical of some of the game decision making. I mean, it was a really conservative approach from the get-go. Then in the second half, it was confusing to me because you go out, you get near midfield, it's 4th and 1, call timeout. So it seems like you're trying to drop a play. You come out and punt.
That was awful.
I don't get that. Then the very next sequence, you actually have the ball in worse field position. It's 4th and 2. You then go for it. Obviously, you don't get it. They go right back down and score. I don't have a beef with punting if you're just throwing in the towel there and making a pure business decision of, you want to know what, let's get out of here. Let's try and do everything we can to not show too much and to keep guys healthy. But then you go for it the following drive. You still have Justin Marshall taking significant carries in the fourth quarter. I understand wanting to get him to 100 yards. That's pretty common by coaches. They do that. They want to reward guys for working hard. They want them to get those milestones. But I mean, that was pretty risky. You're risking a lot to essentially get the not participation award, but the silver lining of at least we rushed for 100 yards. That's great. But if you lose your back there, it could have been bad. I didn't love that.
I agree with that.
Long game. We're going to keep going. We're going to give some more takeaways. I'll give out some key stats. I do want to pick your brain a little bit, RG.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I know. I rant a lot. There's a lot of debates about these types of games, and if you're CSU, there's a real financial necessity to play them. You get $1.8 million for playing this game at number 4 Texas. Obviously, the money we're taking in is not on par with the rest of the big conferences. At the same time, I think there's an argument you could make that getting curb stomped week 1 year after year is not the best way to establish some momentum.
No.
I'm glad I'm not an AD. This is a true wicked problem. Any solution is going to bring up other problems, but I guess what are your thoughts on that? I mean, would you maybe you try and play week 0 so that you can play a smaller school and have a little bit of momentum going in? I mean, just what are your thoughts on these bye games?
Maybe I don't know. I don't know if I would have wanted to open up the season against UNC, then go to Texas, then play CU. I don't know if that works, but again, it's it's damned if you do, damned if you don't, man. If you're playing Texas week 1, I was more worried about health. The first real contact that you're having is with guys that are significantly bigger. They're the 4th ranked school. They're just a big defense. They were big. The run game was really actually better than I thought it would be, if I can say that. And I think, like you were saying, I think they really just wanted to see the offensive line and the running back get used to a run game rather than try and air it out, try and come back, all that stuff.
That's a good point. I mean, there might be some long-term thinking there.
But to go back to your original topic, I don't see the benefit for a FBS school to do this, to go to that kind of thing. But I don't know. When was this game agreed upon? Texas was not number 4 when
they were down, and that's the caveat is these games are scheduled so far out in advance.
That's the
you don't
thing
really know.
I wouldn't do. Right.
Oh, and I asked John Weber about that in Vegas actually when we were out there for media days. I was like, do you think that football? He mentioned, you can't do it quite like basketball, which is year to year because logistically some of the travel, you've got so much gear and stuff. I get all that, hotel and whatnot. But do you really need to book further than 2-3 years out in advance?
Right.
Why are we scheduling games for kids that are in the 4th, 5th grade right now? I don't get it. I don't know. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. I mean, if you remember in the mid-2000s, CSU wasn't playing super big teams, and the games weren't getting picked up by TV because nobody had any interest in them. Attendance dwindled, so I really don't know what the solution is. Like, if you're winning, it's fun. If you're not, it sucks.
I know, and it's really tough. Because I can see the benefits of both. Because look, man, I know that this is going to happen a majority of the times, but damn, would I love for that one couple times that they do beat a ranked team, or at least put up a fight again. It's kind of like the Rocky Mountain Showdown. CU's won how many times? 3 out of every 4. But that one that they do get, it's just so great to see. So it's if you schedule all cupcakes week 1, that takes away that chance. And then, honestly, that makes me more nervous because this outcome I can see, but it's when you're playing the FCS schools and you go, oh shit,
you struggle against them.
I was in attendance for the North Dakota State game when it was okay, this isn't fun at all, and then your confidence is even a worse place. So I don't know, but like I said, 1.8 million, you get. I think it's great because now all the other competition this year should be worse, right? You've seen your best team.
Yeah, I mean, I can say pretty confidently you're not going to play a team that's better than Texas this year.
But again, if you score 0 points, what kind of confidence does that give you? I don't know. It's a lose-lose in my eyes, and you're just going to have to choose one. It's without preseason games in college football, week 1 is always going to suck because it's just going to be the figure-it-out game, and that's either going to lead to these slaughters if you're playing a good team, or it could lead to the accidental upset win if you're playing a team worse. I don't know.
Well put. Not a fun time today.
I don't know if I helped you anywhere there.
It is a fun time when you're shopping with our friends over at Game Time. Game Time makes it easier than ever to get last-minute tickets. With Game Time, you can live in the moment. You don't have to plan out weeks in advance if you want to catch a game. Might just be a Friday afternoon. Maybe you got off work early unexpectedly. Hop on Game Time, see what they've got going on. Maybe you want to go see a stand-up comic. Maybe you want to go catch a Rockies game and drink an ice-cold Coors Light on the party deck. And remember that there are sports worse out there than CSU at times. Maybe you want to go to theater. Maybe you want to go check out a Rapids game. Up the Pids, baby.
Dude, up the fucking Pids, dude.
Up the Pids, indeed. With Game Time, they are always hooking it up. And what I really want to shout out are Game Time picks, because what they do is they take out all of the fluff and they show you only the best of the best deals. They've got thousands of tickets. Sometimes it can be overwhelming. Go to the Game Time picks. It's only going to tell you the very best deals. With the lowest price guarantee, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. If you can find tickets in the same section, same row for less, your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, use that code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms to apply. Again, create an account, redeem that code DNVR for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it?
Game time.
I also want to shout out Toyota, a proud partner of CSU Athletics, the official vehicle of DNVR. Have you seen those new Tacomas, man? They're pretty slick.
Oh, they look so good. The new Tacomas are looking so good. I've seen them around town, and I'm like, yeah, I'd buy one of those.
Well, that's what's great about the Tacoma is you get the flexibility of being able to take it out to the Western Slope, all the mountain driving, but you're not sacrificing those smooth city rides. It's got great gas mileage. I mean, what's awesome about Toyota is you get all of the dependability, the durability, and the versatility of the SUVs while also having options to reduce your carbon footprint. They've got more low and zero emission vehicles combined than any other automaker to give customers numerous choices to reduce their carbon footprint. 16 hybrid vehicles to choose from, like the Tundra iForce Max hybrid truck. Toyota SUVs take command on the road and on the trail as well, so you can explore that road less traveled, again, without sacrificing smooth city rides. Toyota is a proud partner of CSU Athletics and the official vehicle of DNVR. Appreciate everybody rocking with us in the Toyota chat. Obviously a long day, but can be a little bit therapeutic to talk it out.
Let it out.
It was fun at the bar. We had a good showing today for the watch party. Had a full house, which was awesome.
A lot of green.
It was really great to see. I genuinely... I have so much love for you guys that continue to support us. This sucked. The outcome sucked, but it was awesome to see so many Ram fans in the bar. We really appreciate our homies at Coors Light. Gave away a Yeti cooler as well, which was awesome. I guess we can get into some takeaways here I have from the notes. I'll just bounce them off you, see what you say. Justin Marshall's a stud. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit. 25 carries for 106 yards. He's now averaged over 100 yards in his first 4 career starts, essentially, going back to last year. He's the real deal. I mean, you see that burst, his vision, his ability to hit the hole. Like, it looks a little bit differently when he's taken off between the tackles than other guys.
Yes, and it also looks like he's going to look a lot different at the end of the year too. I think it looks like he is figuring it out. There were runs where I think even he knew. I was like, ooh, there was a lot more left if I had just stayed upright. You know, it's like you get so excited about how good you're doing sometimes. You just like, oh, if I just had done that and not gotten all, there it is. But yeah, it was, again, kind of frustrating to see so many run calls that early. But when he was running it, it was like, all right, maybe that's why they are trying to get the run game going, because they see what I'm seeing where it's like, yeah, get him the ball. He's a playmaker.
Well, and I mean, the run game was always going to be a big emphasis, I think, just because that's something they've been wanting to do and they've been talking about it since going to the spring. I just thought we'd see a little bit more through the air in this one.
Fair.
Saved by Zero says, takeaway, CSU will be in the market for another coach at the end of the season. If they don't make a bowl game, it's obviously going to be a pretty decent possibility. Now, I'm not going to get on here and do some like dramatic rant of, oh, we got to fire the coach because they got murdered by a true national championship contender, but obviously we wanted to see more. And frankly, like, the expectations for this season don't change at all. The expectations were always get to a bowl, beat some of your rivals, get back in the postseason for the first time since 2017. Getting murdered by Texas doesn't change that. It was always the most likely outcome. It
doesn't even change how I feel about the team. Again, it's disappointing they didn't score, but this is not, I didn't look at the calendar and go, yeah, this I'm going to feel good after this game. Like, that just wasn't it. We all kind of knew what this was. It was disappointing, but it's week 1. Like you said, a national championship contender. Yeah, 0 points sucks. No taking that away. But this is more of I would find this to be easier to flush than
you would think. I mean, 52-0 that's why it's, again, like, I think the hope was that you go, you know what it is, you're probably going to get stomped. But, I mean, a 35-point spread, you'd like to think, like, at this point of the program in year 3, with your quarterback back, with Torrey Horton back, with the talent you have at receiver, that you could hang within 5 touchdowns of a team.
True. And what's wild is and especially if you look at, like, the Texas stat lines, it wasn't like chunk plays. It wasn't like 70, 80-yard bombs or runs. It was just a really efficient 7 to 15 yards a play, it felt like, for Texas.
7.9 yards a play is what they average.
There you go.
I mean, 3.3 for CSU.
But I mean, Quinn Ewers, one of the best quarterbacks in college football. 260 yards? Like, it wasn't like I didn't come away feeling like, geez, they
20
just
and 27 for 260, 3 touchdowns and a pick.
Right.
They didn't pressure him enough. Gabe Kirschke got the sack. The only other time they pressured him, they were able to tip the ball. You get the interception. Great play by Chase Wilson there to adjust in the fly there. But it wasn't like it was like 80-yard touchdowns, stuff like that, because we've seen CSU defenses being like Washington State both times.
It wasn't like guys just super wide open, no one around.
Some chunk plays, some explosives here and there. The Rams struggled to defend the RPO. Actually, more or less, I liked how they defended the run. They 41 carries for 190. It is 4.6 yards a pop. But I feel like between the tackles, they weren't getting gashed consistently. Like, I mean, there was a few, but
no, I think it wasn't really a run play, but the swing passes to the running backs were killing them today. I think they must have seen something where the safeties or linebackers weren't getting out to the edge, and they were like, this is 8 yards a play easily.
Well, Texas just did a much better job of using the space of the field.
Yeah.
And, like, stylistically, I think CSU would like to do a lot of what Texas had success on, and they kind of tried to early on. I mean, the first play of the game is a quick screen to Torrey. It loses 3. They tried a couple other times. I think they kind of realized pretty quickly Texas just has too much speed in that secondary.
Yeah.
And, they're not going to have the success underneath. Again, maybe you try and take a couple more shots over the top and open up some space underneath, especially because you are running the ball decently. I also get like, probably don't want to have Braden standing back there for too long either.
No. Man, yeah. What do you think it was with Braden? Do you think it was just like not a confident day? It seemed like he was maybe just frustrated early. I
think he got frustrated early.
Okay.
I mean, it's harder. You can body language, especially like on the sidelines, that type of stuff. You can see so much better in person than you can on a TV broadcast.
Yeah.
I felt like he got frustrated after that second drive. They've got a couple first downs, and then it kind of stalled. He overthrew a receiver on like third down, where he just kind of put a little bit too much on it. There are times some in those short and intermediate throws where he's kind of Elwaying it, and I'm like, maybe take 10% off of that one.
I will agree with that.
At the same time, there are other throws you see him make the far throws to the sideline where no one else can do that.
I know. And the play that kind of explained the day to me for at least BFN was, I think, the 4th and 2 where they threw the out. And if you see the replay, literally all 3 receivers have the defensive back with their like hands on them. Like, it just zero separation. And so
it's a good point. Guys weren't getting open.
Like that's just kind of what it was. Like there was just not, like you said, other than Justin Marshall, there was just not anything I can point to offensively where they did anything even remotely like positive.
5 catches on 6 targets for Torrey. Most days you're hoping he's going to be double-digit targets, I think. But, I mean, you only had 18 pass attempts out of your starting offense to begin with. So, I mean, a third of those went to him. That's probably about right from a ratio standpoint. I mean, glad that more or less you're able to get out of there fairly healthy, I think. We'll see what happens with Vince Brown.
The offensive line was okay.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't give up any sacks.
Right.
Let's see how many tackles for loss Texas had. Texas had 5, same as CSU. So, again, I think in the trenches, that would be the biggest positive, at least compared to these other thumpings versus, some of these bigger programs.
Yeah.
But outside of that, like, it's just hard to, if you were going to fare well in this type of game, you had to essentially have a perfect performance. When you get an interception, you have to immediately go down and score.
Right.
You can't have what happened on the... I don't know if it was an intentional fake or if Patty just bobbled the ball. It looked like he just bobbled it.
He bobbled it and then
panicked.
saw a lane and just was like, I'm doing it. And then it was just, he shouldn't have.
And so, when those little types of things go wrong,
I know.
It's not going to help your cause as 35-point dogs.
When Chase Wilson gets an interception off a tip, that's when you go. That's when you need to attack. That was your go for it.
That was the missed window there.
Right.
Is that you're only down 7-0 at the end of the first. You get that turnover and prevent them from going up big, and then you go essentially like 3 and out, and then they go right down the field and score on you. Like that was just such a huge missed opportunity, and to me, that's kind of when the game really flipped in its head, and it was essentially over at that point. Like, you were in it for about 20 minutes or so, and really from that point on, it was over.
I think that's when I realized, when probably the team realized that there was just nothing offensively happening, and I think they all just got in their head.
Some key stats for you guys, and we've made a lot of these points, but just hitting on them. Only 3 of 12 on third down, not good enough. Didn't do a good job staying on the field. Certainly didn't do the defense any favors, although the time of possession wasn't as drastically skewed as I would have thought it would be. It was closer to 50-50 than I would have thought. Only 3.3 yards per play versus 7.9 yards per play from Texas. Texas scored on all 7 trips to the red zone.
That's good, man. They were, as bad as the offense was, the defense was not any better. It was just like, it just seemed like if Texas needed the yards for first down, they got it. It was, there were some bright spots. There were some tackles for loss, but especially in the defensive,
in the secondary,
especially in the defensive backfield, it was just, I was like, oh yeah, this, especially with that kind of quarterback, it just was not.
I mean, in there, like, playing devil's advocate, there was one of the touchdowns early where Elias Larry's, and he's got perfect coverage. He's all over him, and Ewers makes a perfect throw. There's another one on Arch where he kind of makes a nice uses his eyes to shake the linebacker off, throws a little side ball to the guy, makes perfect throw. So, I mean, Texas made plays. They're a dang good team, but you needed a lot more. You needed a lot more pressure. You needed to generate
Right.
more turnovers.
I thought we'd see more
shot.
blitzes. I thought I don't know. The game plan was just not.
It was very
what
conservative,
I thought it was.
and,
Not what I
and
thought
some
it
of
was.
that might truly be that. Like they kind of went
They saw
into
the
this
writing on
one
the wall.
accepting that the loss
Maybe
was
it
going to
is.
be a loss, and maybe that's the case. Now maybe it was more like, we're not truly accepting it's a loss. We'll see if we hang around a little bit. Maybe we open it up. But I think you can make an argument that you don't ever give yourself a chance to complete the upset if you
Yeah.
have that mindset.
You know what is disappointing? Sorry to break off here, but I think the disappointing thing about the offense is that it's not the offense we were seeing in practice. We
No,
have
not
seen
at all. It didn't look
efficient
stylistically.
offense.
It looked a lot different.
Right, like when I was there, it just looked like Braden Fowler knew where he was going. Like it just was so decisive in the play calls that I thought, especially early on in like the first drive, which is why I was so shocked that it did not do like anything, was that I thought that it would just be kind of the plays that they had been working on and why it would click kind of quickly, and maybe because it didn't click quickly. Maybe that's why the coaches were like, oh, well, if the first 15 didn't work, I don't know about the rest of the playbook.
That's a good point. And I do think there was a lot of that. I think there was a lot of business decisions. I also think there was maybe some confliction to that strategy because, again, it doesn't really add up when you you punt it on the first drive of the second half. That's a business decision. Then you go for it on the next one. It's tough, but it's a really ugly day overall. Some individuals shout out, and then we'll do one more break, get some final thoughts, get out of here. There's not that much left to say about this type of game. Player of the game is Justin Marshall.
Obviously.
It's all good. It's presented by UC Health, I believe. He's our player of the game. 100 yards, great to see out of him. He looks the part. Chase Wilson gets a helmet sticker, first interception of the season.
Hell yeah, man.
Defensive end Gabe Kershke gets a helmet sticker, first career sack.
Let's go.
I think that's about it, though, as far as the helmet. I mean, you could say Henry led the team in tackles, but a lot of that was because guys weren't getting tackles.
How many
front
punting
seven.
yards did Patty finish with?
Let's see. Patty had 7 punts, 279 yards, averaged 40 yards a punt, long of 53,
Okay.
3 inside the 20, 1 of
There
50
you
plus.
go.
You want to know what? Patty gets a helmet sticker as well.
3 inside the 20, that's good.
Obviously, he had the blunder as well, so you could
Yes.
you could pin that one on him. But overall, a pretty good day from him. Quietly, a really good punter. I know it's not as sexy as what Stonehouse used to do, those big booming punts. But gets the job done, as does our friend over at Shady Rays.
Hey.
Get ready for this season with quality shades built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays are an independent sunglass company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. How many Shady Rays you got at this point, RG?
3 or 4.
I was going to say.
Because I am notorious for losing and breaking, so I don't like buying expensive sunglasses, so that's why I love Shady Rays. They're not expensive to replace. But also, these are the ones that are not breaking, or I'm losing, because I don't know. Maybe I'm growing up. Maybe Shady Rays are just that good.
Well, I think sometimes you operate better when you know you've got somebody that has your back. And the thing
There you
about
go.
Shady Rays is they always have your back. If you do happen to lose or break them, every single pair is backed by lost and broken replacements. They'll replace those bad boys for you. No questions asked. They've got styles for everybody, exclusively for our listeners. Shady Rays giving out the best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com. Use that code DNVR for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. I also want to shout out Coors Light. Life is long sometimes, especially on a day like today. It's one of those situations where you can let it be overwhelming. You can let it put you in a bad mindset. And in those instances, maybe you start, throwing stuff in the garage, like breaking some stuff, just being a general bad vibe. Our friends at Coors Light, they're saying, don't do that. Choose a chill mindset. Take your deep breaths. Get some walk in the sunshine. Go play with a dog. If you play with a dog, it's impossible to be in a bad mood. Then when you're done, when you're in a chill state of mind, crack open that ice cold Coors Light. When the mountains turn blue, it's as cold as the Rockies. When you choose a chill mindset, it's best to embrace Coors Light. I said that wrong, but you know what I mean. Embrace a chill mindset, then choose Coors Light. Make the most out of the times you choose to chill. Choose Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door with Instacart by going to CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Shoe game's on point today, RG.
Hey, thanks, my guy. I love these CSU. They look at people. It looks like Jordans. They're not. They're the skate shoes. They're SBs. But who cares? They work.
We're not brand
No one
snobs
knew.
around here. Dude, I'll rock a pair of shoes from Costco if the vibes are right.
Dude, Costco, if you have green and gold shoes, I will wear them.
I'm to the point of life where I could just
Kirkland's best shoes.
I could just get everything I need in life at Costco. You know, like just some nice cargo shorts. Just really lean into being an old man.
I get it. I am now also at the point where I'm going, you know what? These are actually some pretty good deals. I have heard many people at Costco goers say like, no, trust me, like the deals are good. I'm like, yeah, I don't buy in bulk. But then I'm like, actually, even if I did buy that seems pretty cheap.
That's what I'm saying. Costco for
but
the
no
people.
no free ads.
Sponsor
sorry.
my show, please. If you have any productive comments or questions, throw them in the Toyota chat. I'll do my best to respond to them. Not going to deal with any trolling. I do think there's some irony with the trolling happening from the other side of the
have
states.
The viewership that if
I
you're here to
appreciate
watch,
you tuned in. You know, keep my name in your mouth. Just don't bite your tongue while you chew it. Goals are still the same for the season. I mean, I think that's got to be
100%.
the biggest takeaway outside of this sucked. This was really disappointing. We all wanted to see more. Sucks that they didn't. Not going to beat a dead horse, though. At the end of the day, you still got 7 home games. You still play 8 first-year coaches. You play 10 first- or second-year coaches. 2 of your 3 rivalry games are at home. You still have a ton of talent comparatively to the rest of the league. Wipe this one away. Go out and do what you're supposed to do.
Again, money was on seeing the schedule. The money was on CSU being 0-1 at the start of the season. Now you are. What are you going to do? Like this? That's all you have. That's all you have to look at.
Can't say it much better than that. Hope to see Vince Brown be okay. Obviously, that would just be a really big loss for the offense. I mean, it was already going to be a struggle trying to replace the production. You lose with Dallin Holker going to the NFL. A big shout out to him. Love to see him make the active roster in New Orleans. Not surprising at all to any of us that got to watch him. But you come into this season with the expectation that Jackson Warren's going to be this big-time transfer addition at tight end. He looked really encouraging, but he obviously has a shoulder injury and will be out for the year. The silver lining of that was that Vince Brown, after not doing much last year, had a really great camp and was going to be the tight end one, even if Warren had been healthy, at least at the beginning of the season. He went down there. I never saw him back out on the field. I don't have any information. I don't want to speculate, but just hope he's okay.
Yeah, that would be big. Again, I know that the wide receiver depth is pretty good this year, but tight end was a huge part of the offense last year. Like it's a big part of what they're trying to do, and even in the run game, like there's a reason, like you said, he was going to beat out or at least be the first tight end, and that's going to be again. We don't know. I hope they were like, hey man, I'm glad you think you can come back, but we don't really need you right now. But we'll see. We'll see any updates on that. But if that's the only one.
As far as some final takeaways here we can get out, obviously Justin Marshall's running back 1, 25 carries, 7 combined for everybody else. Keegan Hollis legitimately is in the mix. He had 2 carries for 4 yards in this one. Kobe, 3 carries for 2 yards. Do wonder if we see more Damian Henderson at some point in the non-con. Yeah, I mean, good to see Jordan Ross out there. Obviously, we've heard a lot of good things about him throughout the camp.
Yeah, man.
True freshman, I think, is going to be the real deal. I think we'll see more Armani Winfield and Donovan Ollie, those kind of guys featured in the future. We're going to learn a lot about this team and how they respond the next couple weeks. I mean, you roll off a couple of victories. I mean, you're going to sit here and Texas will feel like an eternity ago. You let this compound and
this is why
be
we
a
watch.
moment that kills your season, then it can be. But this is a veteran group. They've talked a lot about being mentally stronger, about being more resilient, about being able to learn from their mistakes. And I don't think this game was like incredibly sloppy per se. I don't think it was that instance. I mean, I think there was just clearly a talent gap.
Yes.
But it was a bummer. It was tough to stomach. Obviously, come out, it's week 1, college football's back, you have all this excitement, game day and everything, and then to just come out and have such a wet blanket of a performance, it was
I'd
really
prefer a wet
disheartening.
blanket. It was warm in the bar.
It was warm in the bar. But hey, that's because we had so many people from the Ramley out. And again,
it
shout
really
out
was
to
awesome.
everyone that came to that watch party. Really appreciate our friends at Coors Light for making that happen. I really appreciate all of you for being locked into our content. Shout out to our guy, Dwayne.
Look at Dwayne.
Much
Downtown
love,
Dwayne
buddy.
Brown.
Always up the PIDs. They're doing great stuff over on the Rapids Beats. We got Rapids tonight, don't we, Aya?
6:30 actually, in about an hour, baby.
About an hour, we can wash our sorrows away with some ice cold Coors Light, and we can up the PIDs. I'll have all kinds of contents. Probably not going to rewatch this one. Normally do rewatch before the takeaways. I think I get the picture at this point.
Yep.
But when I get back up to the fort, I'll dive into the written side of things, and then I'll hit reset like everybody else. And Monday morning, it's on to UNC. It's Ag Week. It's a long season, long year. Always proud to have great colleagues and friends like Ryan Greene, like my guy Yeah behind the sticks, making this all happen. Much love, y'all. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.